Everything else in here is postganglionic. We okay with all that? So, the signal getting to the adrenal medulla, the sympathetic signal, is a preganglionic signal. The signal that gets to every other target is postganglionic. There has been a synapse. I'm going to blow up bits and pieces of this. We're going to look at it in a second. Is that okay? That covered? Great. So let's look at the signals that are most superior coming off of the sympathetic chain. So here are all of these white rami. They're coming in. Signals are coming in from the cord to the sympathetic chain. All of these signals, well, these superior ganglia, signals come in and move up. There's a lot of movement in the sympathetic chain. A lot of signals move up and down. The most superior ganglion, okay? Superior cervical ganglion. Here. Signals go to the head region, go to the eye, go to the lacrimal gland, the nasal mucosa. Signals go to the skin. There are no parasympathetic signals to the skin. There are a lot of sympathetic. So when you're relaxed, you really don't notice much going on with your skin. But now you're stressed, okay? Something surprised you. You might get goosebumps. Your hair might stand up. You're in a stressful situation. You start to sweat. These are all sympathetic responses. And then we have the glands, the signals that go to the various glands of the head region. Bless you. Coming off of all three of these cervical ganglia, the superior, the middle, and the inferior, we have a variety of outputs that form this cardiopulmonary plexus. Ding, another cardiopulmonary plexus. This is easy. Now you know we have a cardiopulmonary plexus that takes the parasympathetic signal to the heart and lungs, and we have a cardiopulmonary plexus taking the signal to the heart and lungs in the sympathetic. So they're roughly equal. All right. Through most of the middle region here, we have signals coming off the main cord, passing through the sympathetic chain. There are no synapses in here, all right? Instead, the synapses are going to be in the celiac ganglia, celiac ganglion, the mesenteric ganglia, these three. Celiac ganglion pretty much does some interesting things. First off, we have the liver, gallbladder, stomach, and the spleen. Spleen has no real parasympathetic inputs either. This is a strange part. We have the innervation of the adrenal medulla passes right through the celiac ganglion. Then we have other fibers that pass through the celiac, going down to the superior mesenteric, which then goes down mesenteric. The mesenteries are connective tissues involved with your digestive system. So we'll go on down here. So we have all of these, the three mesenteric ganglia, that are going to supply innervation to your lower digestive system, your small intestine, your colon, and your rectum. And not so much your rectum, it's just your colon down through here. We're going to have a fair amount of innervation from the inferior mesenteric, but there's variable innervation. These lower lumbar areas in here, synapse. Okay? We have the synapses forming here, so these are once again synaptic for the signals coming down. These signals come down to your genitals, your urinary bladder. These form the lumbar splanchnic nerves. So, you should work at it's not critical that you reproduce a drawing like this, all right? What is kind of critical is to know that these chain ganglia here, these signals are just passing through. Down here, these signals are going to synapse, so that we have these four kind of middle abdominal ganglia. We're going to have all sorts of problems with abdominal injuries. There's so much you can damage in there. And then the sacral, the signals coming down here are going to join into the sacral splanchnic nerves, just like the parasympathetic. Even though technically these are coming off the sympathetic chain. So they have no sacral component, but this is going to be pretty much common with, similar to the other splanchnic nerve. So the splanchnic nerves serve the bladder and the reproductive organs. We're okay with this? These are really nice figures. Once again, this kind of helps you to visualize how signals move. So, somatic efferents. Okay, so this is motor, it's efferent. Comes on out from the cord, passes through the spinal root in here, passes through the spinal nerve, but is not involved with the chain at all. It's not going there. It's not going to another ganglion here. It's instead headed out to skeletal muscle. So you should think about that. You remember the figure we used the other day that showed you the somatic efferent, the parasympathetic and sympathetic? It showed you the preganglionic axon. I can go back to that. You should take this series that we're looking at right now and imagine using this with these, okay? Putting those two together, you should be able to visualize what's happening there. So, this is how we get a motor signal to a skeletal muscle, something you have control of. Now let's take a signal and get it to a sympathetic target. There are two signals we're going to see, two different. These are not, it's not like two nuclei involved with one signal. These are two separate things. Okay, so we have the signal coming out, moves along. Once again, we've got the root here, we've got the nerve. We're coming in here through the white ramus. Okay, so is that preganglionic?
Yes.
It is. Sure. This keeps on moving. It does not synapse. Okay? There is no synapse in the chain. Instead, it goes to another one, like the celiac or the mesenteric, where it will then synapse, and we have our second postganglionic axon headed to a target. Are we okay with that? Okay? Now, those that will synapse in here, come on out. Everything is the same. Passes through the white ramus here. Synapses in the sympathetic chain. So, the blue here is preganglionic. The red is postganglionic. Postganglionic comes out through the gray ramus, comes on out, and goes to a target, wherever that target is. I like these. These show.
Can you just say that last one again?
Okay, I will. But let me add something in here. These give you a lot of information. The pre and post are color coded, as are the transmitter that they produce. So you get a lot of information. So signal comes out through the root to the spinal nerve, through the white ramus, synapses in the chain ganglion. Okay? It could be here, it could go down, it could do all sorts of things. But the synapse is in the chain ganglion. This neuron is going to be the neuron that has the postganglionic axon. This is before, this axon is before the ganglion, this axon is after the ganglion. It comes out through the gray ramus, passes out through the spinal nerve to a target. Does that cover that?
How do we know which one is like SNAP and which one's not SNAP?
Okay.
Do there have any specific
Yeah, I'm gonna just every time and there are a couple of conventions. This is a neuron by convention. All right? In all of these pictures we see. This is a cell body, this is an axon, and this is the axon terminus. Cell body, axon, axon terminus. This, by definition, is a synapse. The axon terminus interacting with the next cell body. So, okay? All right. Now with the parasympathetic, we bypass the sympathetic chain. It comes out somewhere, and it's going to go to a target ganglion in the head. You remember, these are between the cranial nerve and the target. In the rest of the body, these are either sitting right on the surface of the target or they are buried within the target. We have the synapse, the postsynaptic, or the postganglionic axon in the parasympathetic tends to be short. Because since it's in the target, it doesn't have to be long. But you'll notice here, they're both blue. They're both blue because they're both using acetylcholine. So that figure in your text is really packed with good information. Now, I want to go, I brought in some more slides from a different textbook, just because they're good. The differences between the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. You can really summarize this nicely. Yeah, the origins, cranial sacral, thoracolumbar. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. You can just look at the drawing and figure that out. Location of ganglia. All right, location are within the visceral organ or close to the organ. Over here, centimeters away, one way or another. Relative length of pre and post. Long preganglionic, short post. Short preganglionic, long post. So they're very different in that respect. Rami, none, gray and white. Degree of branching, minimal, extensive. Function, maintenance, rest and digest, fight or flight. Neurotransmitter, all acetylcholine, and norepinephrine. So it's a nice little table in that it really summarizes everything in one snapshot. So, you ever wonder why you can use use